Hola vieja, ¿me escuchas ahora? Vale, ahora sí. Que no sé qué narices le pasa al micro este que no... Que hay veces que no me lo coge a la primera. Veamos en qué lío me estás metiendo. Vale. Ok, que hace un momento no se escuchaba. Perfecto. A ver, ¿dónde me estás metiendo? ¿Qué es esto? Jugar. Nueva partida. Vale. ¿Qué hago aquí? Jugar, supongo. Pero si no he hecho nada. Bueno, vale, pues jugar. ¿Qué hago aquí con un libro? Vale, estoy pegando botones. Se abre el libro. Vale. Subtítulos. Ok, ¿dónde se pone eso? Vale. No hay una opción diferente. El libro sí salía marcado. A ver, si yo toco botones aquí, vale, triángulo para eso. Vale, no nos dejaban entrar en la mitad del cuarto. Ah, vale, ya entiendo por qué este juego le gusta, ¿verdad? Vale. Esto no corre. Ni hace nada. Yo no había regresado desde el funeral de mi hermano Lewis. Vale.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Pues yo quiero mirar por aquí abajo.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Vale.
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
Es un juego para enterarse de la historia e ir despacio y sin prisa. Vale. Cartilla. Vale. Dame un segundo. Que cuando sale el sol no veo nada. Un momento. Ya estoy. Periódico con una desaparición. Hola Saúl, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Anda, mira, me veo los pies.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Como me lleve mucho susto, no me simpatiza. A ver, ¿a qué botón le doy para la llave? R1.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
Vale. El portazo del vecino. ¿Esto no se abre? No sé si le estoy dando el botón correcto. No, será que no se abre. Vamos a ir por el garaje. A ver si por ahí se puede entrar. Que aquí no veo cerradura. Vale, por aquí tampoco. Esto nos salta. Vale, esto enfoca. Eso también. Mire. Vale, pues si no podemos entrar por el garaje, no podemos entrar por la puerta. Yo creo que esto del buzón tiene que ser algo, ¿no? Quiero tirar la puerta abajo. Voy a la camioneta, a ver si es la llave de la camioneta y hay algo ahí dentro. Tiene pinta que el muñeco no corre, no salta. Al menos no que yo sepa. Por el coche pasa de mí. Pues ahora ya sí que estoy perdida y acabo de empezar. No corre, no salta, solo anda. Ya me estoy dando cuenta ya. Así es que todo va a ir un poquito despacito. Que no entiendo. No voy a escribir mucho, que quiero que disfrutes este juego.
Looking in,
Vale,
I felt like the
ahora
house
entendido.
itself had been waiting for me.
Al menos en cuanto a lo que había que hacer ahí en el buzón. vamos a darle la vuelta a la casa que... Esas cosillas dan miedo a la vez que suenan. Tenéis que ser más inclusiva. Alguno en español alguna vez. A ver, están los subtítulos en español por lo menos. Vale, entramos a la casa como si fuéramos un perrito. Un montón de productos de limpieza, de jardín, un congelador vacío, sin nadie cortado en pedazos.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
Es culpa mía, le he obligado a jugarlo. Sí, me ha hecho jugarlo, no sé de qué va. No sé nada.
Instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Ahí está usted, mira, la vieja. A ver, ¿esto qué es?
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
No me ha dado tiempo a leer.
Or how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Si a ti tampoco te da tiempo a leer, pues vamos a apañar, si tenemos que enterarnos de la historia.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
¿Esto no tendrá algo para el diálogo? Bueno, no sé si esto será el volumen simplemente. Vamos a comprobarlo.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much.
Solo el volumen.
Like a smile with too many teeth.
Pues estamos listos.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Coño, ¿y eso? Se han ido las letras por la chimenea. Vale, puerta para abajo. Joder.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Joder, qué mal rollo. ¿Esto podemos abrirlo ahora? No.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Vale, el desaparecido del hermano, ok. Hostia, y me parece que alguien había jodido aquí también. Y hostia, esta puerta parece que esté sellada a calicanto, ¿no?
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Tengo que meterme ahí ya, sin más. Un poco de mal rollo. Me parece que no hay otra opción, al menos aquí arriba. ¿Qué hago para entrar aquí? Vale, entra sola.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead. I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here, before my mom sealed the doors.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Ahora que estamos como en el cuerpo del niño.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Dios, qué asco. No puedo darle a esto.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Joder, pobrecillo.
My Halloween candy was all gone. Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
Vale. Vale, la cama también tiene... O sea, vamos a ver, no entiendo nada. Hay una silla para poder subir, como que no puedo caminar. Y la cama también tiene una forma rara para el cuerpo.
I kept eating and eating.
Tenemos unas cuantas manchas en la piel también.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Menos mal que no había nada en el váter. Si no, se lo habría comido
Then I
también.
heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat.
Que ahora soy un gato. Vale, el gato sí que salta, más o menos.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
¿Y ahora dónde voy?
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Qué juego más raro. ¿Y cómo voy donde el pajarito?
I jumped and I almost got her.
¿No puedo saltar encima de la silla?
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
¿Qué narices? ¿No puedo levantarle la vista?
Rabbits.
Vale, puedo lanzarme sobre ellos.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit.
Sube, hombre.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Dios, no me extraña que estuviera encerradísimo. Es un tiburón, tío. No entiendo nada. Hostia. ¿Cómo manejo un tiburón, tío?
I rolled off the cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Dios, esto no es ni medio normal.
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
¿Esto no será lo que quiere o sí?
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Los controles.
Grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
¿Qué soy ahora? Qué la música, tío.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Hola, China, ¿qué dice? Juegazo, ¿no? A ver dónde me habéis metido.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Me confundí este con otro del estilo que jugué hace no mucho. Este mola más, dice. ¿A este no me lo puedo comer? Vaya tela. Amigo, que sacas por la puerta.
At the
Otro menos.
last passenger, I was still hungry. Across the water, I saw something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
¿Qué categoría es el juego suspenso? Pues creo que es, pues no sé si de terror, de aventura. No tengo yo muy claro qué es esto. De puzzle también, no sé, algo así. Ah, mira, hemos vuelto a la habitación siendo un bicho extraño. Pero no sé qué hay que hacer ahora. Todos mis estómagos. ¿Todos sus estómagos? ¿Cuántos tiene?
And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Buah, chaval.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have. This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Vale. O sea, Molly es el gato a la vez que la niña, a la vez que el tiburón. Vale.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. Her room was like a museum.
Bonito, ¿no? A ver, de momento un poco raro, un rato. Bonito todavía no lo sé.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Vale, entonces Edie es la abuela. Joder, tío. Lo tienen todo un poco en la mugre.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Hostia, el pastillero tan... Yo quiero entender por qué a la vieja le gusta este juego. Ay, no. Esto me va a meter en otra historia.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
No entres todavía, amiga. Hay un libro fuera.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Está acordonado esto, tío. No entiendo nada.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
Yo quiero una casa así, la verdad. Está llena de pasadizos.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
A ver, ahora me he metido en otro recuerdo. Tengo un pie roto.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam, Calvin, dinner's ready.
Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Vale, ¿cómo se para el tobogán, tío? Columpio, párese. ¿No puedo bajar de columpio? ¿Tengo que columpiar más rato o qué? Pues nada, pues nos columpiamos otro rato. Gente, quiero parar de columpiarme.
I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
¿No puede que hayamos muerto con el columpio?
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Vale.
After
Vamos a
the
intentar
funeral,
salir.
Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Voy a intentar salir de la habitación
Mom said
esta.
Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Porque había un libro de estos de historia fuera también. No sé si se puede salir. Veamos en qué piel nos
500
metemos
years, the
ahora.
Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
¿Ya está? Vale, botón erróneo antes.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johann. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edith, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Vale.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways. The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies. Edie's father, Odin, built the original house. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
¿Vuelvo? ¿A dónde vuelvo? ¿Por qué? ¿Vuelvo por el botellero? ¿Por qué? Vale, vamos a hacer caso a la vieja.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream.
Hola Luis, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos?
Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Pensaba que tendría que volver a la cajita de atrás a hacerlo. Vale, Luis, bien aquí en clases y tú. Bueno, pues espero que estés entre clase y clase y que no te pillen con el teléfono. Yo estoy aquí probando un jueguito que me han recomendado. Todavía no sé muy bien de qué va, pero estamos en ello.
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Para usar la muleta para pegar. En fin. Dios.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Dios.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Toma.
Oh.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Walter vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And strange it was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Este juego es muy raro, gente.
She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it. Ollie's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet. vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Joder, qué chungo, tío.
Someone at the door was dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had
¿Qué
come to
cojones?
surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
¿Qué me va pareciendo el juego? No sabría decirte la verdad. Es un poco raro, especial. Aún no sé muy bien quién es quién, porque menudo follón. Y vaya telita con las historias. A ver, currar, se lo han currado un poco. Porque esto es raro.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Mirad el cuaderno para saber quién es cada uno. ¿Usted cree que esto me ayuda? ¿Y esto qué es? ¿Cómo murió cada uno? ¿O cómo está esto? Tiene toda la pinta. Es un juego bastante raro. Desaparece, sí. Vale, aquí teníamos camino para arriba.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Vale, pues no tenemos camino para arriba. ¿Qué opinas, Soul, del juego? Que pones carita triste.
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Vale, estamos en el principio otra vez. No comprende, yo tampoco mucho. Pero supongo que aquí me podría hacer con la llave esta, ¿no? ¿O qué? Esto es un juego que hace algunos meses o algo regalaron en el Plus. Pero no sé. Según la China dice que al final todo encaja. Vale, pues vamos a ver cómo acaba todo esto. O cómo continúa. Vale, estoy en el sitio de antes, pero ahora con otra perspectiva.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
El contrabando.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Ya no.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Vale, aquí tendremos la muerte del Walter, ¿no?
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years.
30 años llevaba en el sótano.
After the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week.
He de decir que con los subtítulos de este señor se han pasado.
But after a few days, I settled into a routine.
Porque no se lee bien.
That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
Vale, todos los días nos alimentamos de melocotón en almíbar.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing
también tiene
was,
las manchas.
it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
No me
I'm
quedan
done
latas.
waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can.
Cuesta leer ese tipo de escritura. Ya empezamos. Desde luego la casa daba bastante de sí, ¿eh?
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly
Y a
and
todos.
Calvin.
Venga, que ahora nos
Maybe
vamos con un
this
martillo por
is
ahí.
all a mistake.
¿O no?
But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me.
Hostia, esto es como el Minecraft. Tenemos una vía y todo abajo de la casa. Ya no sé si puedo retroceder.
Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Toma, quería sol, toma sol. Bueno, pues ya tuvo un día diferente, ¿no? Comió
Walter died
melocotón
when I was 6.
y fue arrollado.
I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Esto es muy raro, gente.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house,
Un
I
tío
can
debajo
only
de la
imagine
casa.
what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
Vale, antes hubiera retrocedido a ver si aquí había algo. Pero parece que...
Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Joder, y encima la escenificación, ¿sabes? Del trenecillo de Walter. ¿Me puedo tirar al agua? No. Hola Luis, bienvenido de nuevo. ¿Has terminado las clases? Muy bien. ¿Cómo te ha ido?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Nada, me alegro.
But I thought you should know about your family.
¿Y qué tal el juego? Muy raro, muy raro. Si tienes ocasión y te quedas un ratito, quedará un buen ratillo aún. Es como historias de... Más bien de cómo ha ido muriendo una familia, porque otra cosa no me ha quedado muy clara.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
Totalmente confuso. Tú por lo menos eras de la familia.
People in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Vale. Supongo que el puentecito no nos llevará a ningún lado. Pero miraremos por si acaso. Correcto. A saber qué será aquello de allí.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Joder. ¿En serio? Sí que tenían una buena maldición.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
O sea, este es el cementerio de mascotas. Hostia, tenían una rana de mascota y fue enterrada. Joder, qué de animales, tío.
Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
Pues la estatuilla que tenían ahí, toda la pinta de una rana, sí. Bárbara Finch como estrella. Esto no sé lo que es. Carbón de la mina, yo qué sé. Madre mía. Mira, pobre Molly. Esa estatuilla es lo más bonito que hemos visto hasta ahora. Sí. Acércate a la de Walter, dice la vieja. ¿Dónde estaba la de Walter? Pero... no ocurre nada, que me acerque más. Hostia. Pero no puedo hacer nada, ¿no? Pero se ve todo guapo. Curioso. Dice, ya está. Se ve bonito a través del agujerito, ¿eh? Las palmeritas, tal. Ok. Seguimos. De momento ganarle la rana y el del gatito. Vale. ¿Y aquí qué hago? escalerita, pero no sé si se puede ir ahí. No. ¿Se puede subir al árbol? ¿O cómo salgo de aquí ahora? Ah, mira, sí, ahí está lo de... el que veíamos a través de la tumba de Walter, ¿no? Por ahí tiene que haber un camino para ir. Pero el cementerio me deja un camino. Joder, pues sí que estoy ciega, ¿no? Eso de los ojos de ver no los uso mucho.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea.
Nunca sé si preguntas por preguntar o porque quieres ayuda. A ver, normalmente la primera pregunta al azar es porque no sé para dónde tengo que ir. Y ya si pregunto dos es porque no sé para dónde tengo que ir.
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Hasta que la primera casa que tuvieron, ¿no? Ok.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand.
La
But the
casa
older
que
I get,
trajeron de
the more I
Noruega.
can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Joder, pero cuánta
She
gente
lost two of her brothers,
y
just
mascotas
like I
han
did.
caído aquí,
I
tío.
get why she tried so hard to protect us. We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
Me parece bien.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
¿Y lo descubriera por ella misma o porque cayera ella aquí también? Y ya todos estaríamos aquí juntos.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Joder.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
Vale, este murió o con un oso o de un francotirador. Veamos cómo murió este señor.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off.
I'm over here, Dad.
¿A qué puedo yo girar esto? Pero no puedo sacarlo de aquí.
Just need to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can hit the road.
What?
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Supongo que esto es hacer fotos por hacer.
Aw.
Vale, pues ya me cansé de hacer fotos. No veo nada especial para hacerle fotos. Vale. Alguna foto tengo que haberme saltado porque no me deja salir. A la vieja, échame una manita, que no sé qué tengo que fotografiar. A la izquierda.
Definitely should not have
Ah,
jumped
¿qué
on
tal el
it.
señor ahí meando? Tócame.
Hold still, while
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff if you want to survive.
I'll be
O sea,
fine,
era lo
Dad.
importante, ¿eh? No irme de aquí sin la foto del
Some
señor
guy who
meando.
died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
Es posible.
Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of him.
Joder, con las fotitos, tío.
Dad, I...
Uf, qué peligro tiene esta. Hostia, no se lo cargará ella de un disparo, ¿no?
Let me get behind
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that.
Vale, más gente. O sea, más muñecos quedan por ahí. Vale. Vale, vamos a tirar el jabón. Ay, no llega. Dice, a mí este juego me encantó. Si es que estáis chiflas. Vale, jabón al agua. Cuidado con la ballena, explota. O sea, por aquí ya empezamos a tener jabón. Madre mía. Me come la bañera.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
Ah, se acabó la fiesta.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
Pues parece que no morimos. Oh, sí. Vale, aquí está el lío, ¿no? La madre confía de que todo está correcto y nosotros aquí echando agua. Señora, no tiene que dejar a un niño solo. Hostia, espérate ahora, ¿sabes? Gente, los controles.
Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Madre mía. Hostia, eso es el contrato de divorcio. Vale. Pues uno murió con la rana ahogada. Vale. Creo que nos faltan como 4 por saber cómo murieron, ¿no? Oye, Minty, mírame lo que te digo. Psst. Vale. Vale, creo que este será el siguiente. Me vais a dar un segundito, que ha venido el Minty a reclamar su comida. Y antes de que me lo muerda todo, vengo ya. Dice, vamos a aprovechar que no estáis y decimos lo mala que es. Ustedes sí que son malas. Me hacen jugar cosas muy extrañas.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Vale, ¿esto qué? Ah, una cometa. Y ahí si había que leer algo, no me he enterado.
But Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
La cometa. La cometa que no me sale ningún otro texto por ahí. Atropella a la gente. Aquí.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Vale. Simpático el gesto.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
No, ahora la Mogu quiere cazar la cometa. No veo.
Buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, make the music louder.
Vale, pues este murió como el dicho ese de la María Sarmiento, ¿no? O se lo llevó el viento.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Mogu. Mogu. Ven. Ven, que ahí no me dejas leer, ven.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Vale, otro menos. Se lo llevó el viento, ¿no?
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Mira. Mira lo que tengo. Mira, corre.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Es todo un poco siniestro, ¿eh? Me he vuelto a bajar al mismo sitio. Vale. Que se podía subir más. O sea, se podía subir más, no, que me había dejado esto aquí.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Vale. A ver cómo murió Milton.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Desapareció.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Este era el único, es que ya me he perdido con tanto nombre. Este era el único que no sabíamos que le había pasado, ¿no?
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Putas vasijas.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but
I think Lewis blamed himself.
¿Puedo haber perdido alguna historia? O sea, alguna...
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Pues sí o sí te llevan por todos los caminos. Ya queda poco, ¿no? A ver, yo creo que sí, que queda poco porque según esto faltaría Edith, Duane, Lewis. No sé cómo termina esto, pero parece que poquito le queda. Miro el cuaderno. ¿Qué miro en el cuaderno? ¿No? Vale. Y yo entiendo que soy la que no tiene fecha de muerte, ¿no? Por ahora. Ok. Sí, aquí la pipa, la pa y todo.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Bueno, me choca lo de San Juan, la verdad. Vamos a ver qué le pasó.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew.
No me esperaba eso.
In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to...
Se me ha quedado el pez ahí. Hostia, ¿puedo coger el mismo pez y quedarme sin mano? No. No veo.
Wonder.
Vale, que tengo que girar esto. Hostia, que ahora camino por aquí. A la vez que tengo...
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small.
Si voy por arriba, dice otra cosa. Que se me acumulan los peces, gente.
Imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about when something moved. Bats and toads. And things that had not names. He knew it was all in his head.
¿Ese pelo lo puedo coger? No. Hostia.
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Que no me puedo concentrar en las dos cosas a la vez.
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
Se escuchan perros aparte del juego, ¿verdad? ¿O soy yo que estoy flipando también?
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick.
Toma ya, ahora llevamos tamboril y todo.
Then he made musicians.
Este juego es demasiado random, demasiado.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Está claro que murió de sobredosis por lo menos.
Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds,
hay juegos peores a los que le han dado el GOTY. Esto en la calle. No sé, no sé.
So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville.
Voy a decir que me sorprende bastante la de chorradas y cosas diferentes que tiene.
He started drifting away from our reality.
Pero vamos, alguien muy fumado hizo esto, ¿eh?
Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Louisville,
Moraleja.
he heard rumors of a...
La cabeza en las nubes al lado de cuchillas mal. ¿Ah? La cabeza en las nubes... Ah, ya. Sí, lo... Vale. Hostia. ¿Elegimos camino? ¿Qué queremos? ¿Un hermoso príncipe o una apuesta reina?
Beautiful handsome queen.
Vieja, dígale algo a la china, que está diciendo cosas raras. Tarde, eligió tarde. Nos pilla la reina. Elija ahora serpientes siniestras o arcoíris radiante. Corre que el barquito sigue para adelante, no se frena. Serpiente, venga. Yo me habría ido por el arco iris, ¿eh?
He followed the sound of her.
Que me muerde la serpiente. Vale, citar eléctrico. ¿A dónde voy? Yo que sé a dónde voy. O arpa de plata. Que no era buena idea ir por lo de la serpiente. Me voy por el arpa de plata.
Silver harp.
Yo le hice caso a usted. Usted me dijo serpiente, yo serpiente.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Hostia, hostia, ¿qué le pasa a los atunes? No veo la cuchilla.
But he was so proud of having created it.
Uy.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
En un gran zumbao se
For someone
convirtió.
who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Un
Began
zumbao
to forget the
total.
world we know.
Está lleno de pescado.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Buh.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Estoy flipando, sinceramente. Estoy tal como está este tío ahora mismo, pues yo igual.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Dios.
The rest, I
Decapitado.
think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Dios. Dios. ¿Algo que decir? Soul, ¿sigues ahí? Opina. Oh, pero no salgas por aquí. Si no se termina matando, pega en el palo.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
No sé, pero yo creo que hasta la protagonista le va a pasar algo. Vaya
I'm
tela.
not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Es raro, no sé qué decir. Espero algún final. Uf. Pues ahora lo veremos. Yo tampoco sé qué decir.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
La última noche. Vale. Si este es el final, nos hemos saltado un par. ¿No? Porque si aquí pone Edith, Dawn y Eddie no les hemos visto. Ya queda muy poquito. A ver qué va a escribir esta.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
Joder, parece que lo tenga dentro de la casa, tío.
And all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Sí, el perro es efecto adicional, sí. Y los portazos también. Eso para darle más emoción al
the
juego.
power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Hostia, antes llevábamos otros guantes de estos diferentes. Me gustan.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Vale, aquí tengo que caminar.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around.
Dios, no veo nada.
I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again.
Abuelita!
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
¿Se acabó? Entonces, ¿qué éramos? ¿El niño todo el tiempo? ¿El desaparecido? ¿Cómo es esto? Hostia, no sé, pero estas imágenes ahora sí que dan mal rollo, ¿eh? Porque parecen imágenes reales. ¿Y al final hemos visto la historia de todos? Tengo la sensación de que nos hemos saltado a alguien. Por lo del diario, que se veían ahí varios nombres más. Ah, la madre y la bisabuela no tienen historia. Vale. Que es lo último que hemos visto. Ok. He de decir que me ha sorprendido, ¿vale? Porque tiene unas paranoias flipantes. Pero es muy raro, muy raro. Es un poco gore. Saber una historia todo rara de cómo ha muerto toda una familia. Es un poco gore. Y si estos son los créditos, también son un poco raros, ¿eh? Que la historia de Bárbara también ha sido especial. A mí me encanta la del atún. Sí, ha sido bastante especial. Yo me he sentido casi identificada porque vaya tela. Ya súper zumbaos, tío. La del gato, la primera, ¿no? La que ibas ahí con el gatito, luego eras un tiburón, un bicho extraño. Muy especial también, sí. Los créditos también están curiosos, ¿eh? Bueno, las fotos de los niños de cada uno no creo que fuera necesario, pero están curiosos como los han puesto. Ahora Let's Carter, supongo que es otro jueguito del estilo, ¿no? Déjese. Es el siguiente. Lo miraré a ver. Vale, entonces los hemos completado, vale. La opción repetir una historia ya está disponible. Selecciona Edith para jugar desde el principio. Ok. Vale, pues... Lo que es historia ya está completada. Ahora los trofeos, que son muy fáciles. Pues sinceramente solo me han saltado 2. Ahora que lo hemos terminado. Así que no sé qué trofeos tiene el juego. ¡Hala, qué mala! Mira. A ver, aceptamos barco. Ok. Vale. ¿Qué trofeos habrían? Pues no lo sé. Vale, se va a quedar la pantallita en azul mientras miro los trofeos. Tirar todas las letras del nombre Gregory a latina. Vale. Tomar los 2 caminos que llevan a la casa. Ese no sé cuál es. Mirar por todas las mirillas y telescopios el tiempo suficiente para escuchar el comentario de Edith. Atrapar a 2 conejos con solo 2 descensos. Vuelve a jugar la historia de Calvin. Despejar todas las bolas de la mesa de billar. Ese casi lo consigo, ¿eh? Y deja que el marinero borracho termine su canción. Vale. Ni idea. Bueno, esto ya lo hacemos aparte, ¿no? Con esto ya hemos concluido la historia. No ha estado mal. 2 horitas y media casi de juego. Está bien. Pues lo dejamos aquí, ¿verdad? Los trofeos ya se los saco yo aparte. ¿O queréis verlo o algo? Pues nada, pues lo dejamos hasta aquí. Y el próximo día otro jueguito. Ok, muchas gracias y gracias por enseñarme esta maravillosa joya de juego. Si no, jamás lo habría jugado. Por lo menos ha sido sorprendente. Y nada, gracias por hacerme compañía y guiarme por estas cosillas. Nos vemos. Chao. Sin palabras. Chao.